Hey guys, how you doing? As you saw in my last video, I'm busy depopulating boards. So far I've got a crate full of boards that have got gold on them. I've got some ones put aside which I think might have silver. They've got to be tested. And I've still got a massive crate full of boards to come. As you would have seen in the last video, I did some pinned CPUs. There were several sorts. There was ones with a little hole, ones that were all pins, ones with a slightly bigger hole, and ones with the normal size gap in the middle. There ended up being 40 in total. This is the gold I got. Doesn't look like much from 40. You think there'd be a lot more than that. There is some chunks of solder that came off. So these are going to need to go into HCl first to get rid of the solder. But that's what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to see how much gold I get from 40 CPUs. I'll go outside now and put these in HCl. I put the pins in some hydrochloric acid yesterday and there's no more reaction. You might be able to see there's some metastatic acid, which is normal. It's just like when you make stannous chloride. So I'm going to pour this hydrochloric acid off, and I'm not going to waste it. Still plenty of strength in it. I've got other pins and other things that I need to soak in hydrochloric acid, so I'll use that. Now give these a good rinse out. Some fresh distilled water. Probably won't get all that black out of it. I don't know how to do that. It's all stuck in there. It's not going to affect the outcome at all. Let's keep rinsing this off. As long as the old hydrochloric acid is out of it, that's all that matters. See, it's still murky, so I need to keep rinsing it until it's not murky anymore. You see it's pouring off all murky. So it's still a bit murky. Get in there. It's getting better. Now I need something else to pour the solution off into, so I'll just go and get something. So you can see there's some nice gold in there. I hope you can see it. I really would like to get all that black out, but short of spreading it out on a plate and picking it out with tweezers, I don't know what else to do. But the main thing is the solder's gone, all the hydrochloric acid's gone. Well, I'm still rinsing it, but it's getting there. Even if that black does affect the gold, I'm going to refine it anyway. The main thing is I wanted to get all the tin out, which I've done. And that's not as murky now. Some of the gold's starting to float. There we go, got that down. So I'll carefully pour this off. And that can be the last rinse. Oh, there's some more gold floating. Gotcha. Okay. So now it's time to start dissolving this gold. I know I don't need such a big beaker, but I figure that there could be a lot of copper in there, or whatever is what the pins are made of. So before I dissolve it, I might actually do a nitric bath, see if I can get rid of the base metals. So I'll put some fresh distilled water in there. I could just dissolve it straight away, but those who know me know I like to have a nice clean solution. The nitric might even get rid of that black stuff. Right, so I'm going to put some nitric in there. Do a good squirt because I've got all that base metals to dissolve. And I'll put it up on some heat.
I just put it in cartons, okay?
And put a lid on top. And let that dissolve. Okay, got a slow reaction starting straight away. Got a few fumes, so it's a good sign. Just wait for this to heat up and then it should react a lot more. And should be nice and clean once we get rid of all the base metals. See a much better gold solution then when it's not full of copper and all that. I'll be back when this is finished. Got a nice reaction going now. This is the 4th time I've added extra nitric acid. Each time the reaction dies down and stops, I put more nitric in. You can see the gold foils that are starting to float. There's a big ring of them around the edge before, so it's all coming back now as the bubbles are going down. And that'll go right down to nothing, and then I'll put more nitric in and it'll flare up again. There's a lot of gold floating around there. Looking good. So I've just got to keep doing that now until there's no reaction, and when I put more nitric in, nothing happens. And look at all that gold. That's looking really good. And that's all the way around. Come back once it's finished. Well, the reaction stopped yesterday. Life got in the way, so now I'm going to pour off the solution. I don't have any small beakers, that's why I'm using such big beakers. I'm waiting for a new water to turn up, and it looks like there might be some crud in the bottom, which I'm not really happy about. It looks like metastatic acid, which shouldn't be because I poured a lot of that off when I rinsed it. But I guess it could be stuff that didn't get done. I don't know. Maybe there's things on there that the nitric was able to remove that the hydrochloric didn't. So I've got to filter it and try and rinse it, see if I can separate all the gold from that white sediment. I'm sure that's metastatic acid. I could be wrong, but it looks like it to me. If I can't separate it, it's not really a problem. It just means I'll have to dissolve the gold with that. It's not ideal, and it's going to take a lot of refining to get rid of it all. I would like to sort of remove it, and I don't see how, because the little gold just there, once they get mixed in with it, it's pretty hard to separate them. It looks like it's stuck on the outside, but it's not, it's on the inside. So I'm guessing there's going to be gold all through this. I really had hoped to get rid of that with the hydrochloric acid, but let this be a lesson to you, is that hydrochloric acid doesn't always get rid of all the tin. Yeah, I can see gold all through that sediment down there. So I'm pouring it into a filter simply so that if I do pour any gold in there, I'm not going to lose it. Just want to separate this liquid. I'll return that filter to this beaker just in case. I mean, I'll be able to see anyway once I'm finished if there's any gold in there. So there's no point in sitting here for hours waiting for this to happen. It might go quick or it might take a while. So I'll come back when this is finished. The intention was to pour off the solution, leaving the sediment and gold in the beaker so I could rinse it. But no matter how hard I tried, the sediment wanted to leave the beaker, and of course the gold was going to follow, so I had no choice but to filter it. So it's filtered now. And the sediment and the gold is in the filter. So now I'm going to put the filter back in the beaker, and I don't need to add much, just a little bit of hydrochloric acid. Now I'm hoping the gold will dissolve and the sediment, whatever that is, I don't know what that sediment is, I'm hoping it will stay at the bottom and I can filter out the gold solution. If the sediment decides to dissolve, well then I'll have some refining to do to try and get rid of it. So let's just see how this works. I'll put the last of that in there to fill this bottle back up. And as you know, there's not a lot of gold in there. So just going to add small increments of nitric acid. And I give a big shout out to Mike, my viewer Mike, who gave me these flasks. There's 2 or 3 of these. Awesome, thank you. So I'm just going to add a little bit of nitric. That's more than enough for now. If I need more later, I can add it in. Always the best way to do this, because otherwise you end up over nitricing and then you got to denox and it's a waste. So I'll put this up on heat, put a lid on it, put it on halfway, a bit less than halfway, and see what we get from this. The gold has had a chance to cool down. I've let it sit all day. I don't need to put ice in there to try and drop silver, because I don't think there'd be any silver in there. So just putting a little bit of sulfamic in. There's no reaction. I didn't think there would be, because I only used incremental additions. So now I need to filter the solution. I have to go and get a beaker. One sec. This beaker is clean. It's got a tinge of brown to it. A lot of my beakers are that old and stained, or what's left of them anyway. I've broken so many beakers this year. It happens from time to time. And my chook's got in here and got up on the table and knocked a heap off there. I've got a new batch coming, which I wouldn't be able to do if it wasn't for my channel members. I mean, what I get from them is nowhere near enough to cover the cost of the beakers, but it's something. And every channel member contributes towards the cost of me making these videos. So I appreciate every one of you guys. So now I'm going to filter out all this paper debris and etc. from this gold solution, so we can See how much gold we've got. And what will that go through first, and then I'll get all the pulp in afterwards. Now I've got some iron sulfate, or copper as it's also known, made up from a previous job. I make up plenty in advance and just leave it for when I need it. It doesn't need to be made fresh on the day you use it. This is it here. I've got plenty here, and the golden rule is, well, from what I do, I put the same amount of this as the amount of solution I get, because you're supposed to dilute gold solution to double its quantity. So if you're using SMB, for instance, rather than have to dilute it and then put SMB in, I just dissolve the SMB, same thing, and then when I pour the solution, it's also diluting it. Well, with the copper as, I do the same thing. I double its quantity by putting how much of this in is what there is here. I hope that makes sense. Now this is coming out very cloudy, so it will need to go through the filter a second time. A lot of people ask me why I don't use vacuum filtration, why I only use gravity filtration, and there's two reasons. I actually have everything that is needed for vacuum filtration except decent size vacuum flasks. When I started, it was suggested to me that I only do small amounts, so I went and bought small beakers and small flasks. And when I say small, I mean like this quantity. You know, I got a little flask about this big with a tiny little Buckner funnel. I have over time gone and bought all the different accessories I need in the hope that one day I've got everything I need. So I've got plenty now of different size Buckner funnels, including real big ones. I've had a vacuum pump for about 3 years now. The only thing I'm really lacking is decent size vacuum flasks. So I've got the small one I told you about, and I've also got, I think it's a 500ml one. I can't seem to find any. I don't know if it was because of COVID or whatever, but my supplier hasn't got them. In my new delivery, which is probably due tomorrow, I do have a 1 litre vacuum flask, but I would really like to get at least a 2 or 3 litre one. I may need to get another 1 litre one, so that if 1 litre is not enough and the solution looks like reaching the top, I can swap it out for the other one. So that's why you don't see me doing vacuum filtration, because I'm yet to get the right size flask. The other reason why I don't, why I was never in any hurry to get all the stuff, is because not everybody can afford to have the best equipment. I started out with coffee pots and then eventually worked my way up to beakers. Coffee pots are fine. You can start with coffee pots. They're designed to be warm. They're not designed for boiling, but they're designed to be warm. But the thing is, they're very thin and they do break. I just find that beakers are a little bit more sturdy. Unless you drop them, you know, they don't bounce. And so, you know, gravity filtration is something that most people are equipped for. I don't want people to think that, you know, you have to have the best. You have to have all this fancy stuff, because you don't. Although I will, when I get some bigger flasks, I will set up the gravity pump filtration, vacuum filtration, simply for speeding some reactions along. If I've got a large amount, you know, litres and litres of stuff, this little amount, there's no harm in having gravity. So I'm not trying to ramble on, but I have had a lot of people ask me, so it was a perfect time to answer it. This is half down now, but I don't want to go tipping the rest of that in and completely block up the filter just yet. I'd rather wait until that's all gone through. and then pour the sediment in, and it's going to completely load up the filter, and then I'll have to run all this through again. What I may end up doing is rinsing out the sediment, trying to get all the gold solution out of the sediment into the beaker, as rinse it best I can, and then put that in my paper storage and use a new filter to refilter this, because otherwise what's going to happen is I'm going to put all this back through the sediment again and have to try and get it all back out of there again. It's going to take even longer. Once I get rid of the sediment, rinse it and rinse it and rinse it and get all the gold solution out and then get rid of it, passing this through a second filter will be a lot quicker. And even if I need to give it a third go because it's a new filter, it'll still be quicker. So I think it'll be faster in the long run to do a bit of extra work now than to be lazy and try and pour all this back through this with all the sediment in there. Alright, so I hope this is going faster than what it is, but it's not. So I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so all the sediment's there. It's quite heavy. I know I got all the gold out of it, so that's not an issue. That can go in my paper storage. So I'll tip this back in here for a second. A lot of the sediment here came through the filter. I don't know how, but there's like glass balls or something in there. Weird. I don't know what they are. Oh, they can stay there. It's just got stuff all over it. I don't know what this is. So there's reddish coloured stuff all over it. Weird. Okay. These are the best filters ever. They're already cone shaped. I get packets and packets of them because I go through so many, and I get them from places like wish.com. I love them. They're so good. So easy to use. Just fold over the perforated part where they put it. There's even a tab here to grip it straight into your funnel. It's already got the right shape. Perfect. Make sure it's all in there nicely. I might have to run this twice because being a new filter, some of the rubbish might make it through. It's going through a lot faster than yesterday. It's a good thing. It's coming through nice, but it's not as clear as I like, so I'll definitely go a second time. Maybe even a third if need be. Because whatever that precipitate was, I have to filter it out. Refine it. Yeah, the filter's starting to slow down now, which is good. That means it'll catch more second time round. See, it slowed right down. How fast is it dripping? It's running still, so that's good. Almost there. So tell me what you guys are up to. I'm interested in hearing from you guys. I get some awesome comments from you guys. I really do. I love it. I'm keen to see what you guys are doing. Are you just refining anything? Are you just learning? Okay, it's almost through. Just the last bit. It's taking its time now. Drip, 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 drip. Slowed right down. I'll pause the camera for a second, and when this will be nearly finished, and then I'll start it back up. Alright, so it's filtered through enough. There's like the tiniest, I think there's one drop or something in there. Right. Let's go again. You see it's not going anywhere near as fast as before, and it's looking a lot clearer, but this is going to take time now because it's slowed right down. So what I'll do is I'll come back when it's finished. Alright, so there's only like half a filter left of solution, and I can see it's cloudy still. I can see there's like some sort of sediment on the bottom, that muck that was in there before. I'm guessing this is going to be awkward to filter out. It's going to take time, so I'm just going to keep putting it through over and over and over as long as it takes to get this nice and clear without all that sediment. It's got to eventually block up all the pores in the filter and catch every bit of it. So there's no point in me repeatedly showing you the filtration. I'll just keep going until I get it nice and clear, and I'll come back. Alright, so that's filtered through again and again and again. Each time I do, it's getting watered down more and more and more because I'm squirting out the filter until all the gold solution runs clear like it is now. I don't want to keep diluting it. It's going to need to be refined again anyway. So put some copperas in, give it time to set. Hopefully by the end of the day I can collect the gold, wash it, redissolve it. I'd like to get all that done today. We'll see how this goes. Nice colour change. There's not a lot of gold, I wouldn't think, so I'm not expecting a miraculous colour change straight away, but that's not bad. I didn't shake up the solution. I don't think I would have needed to. Anyway, just let that sit, see what happens. It's been 3-4 hours, something like that. And it's settled quite nicely. There's only a thin layer of gold on the bottom. I wasn't expecting much at all for the tiny amount of solution, the tiny amount of pins, but I decided not to go ahead and refine it again because I've got lots of little pieces of gold already that are going to be all refined together on a video. This is not a toll refine for someone else, this is for me, so I'm just going to gather this up, wash it and melt it, and just put it with all the other little pieces I got. So for now I'm just going to pour this off into this beaker. I'll put it in my temporary stock pot soon. It seems to be staying at the bottom of the beaker well enough. There's a little bit in suspension. It's very fine gold, it's not thick and chunky like I would hope. The reason I chose the iron sulfate is because they say it only drops gold. I don't necessarily believe that, but on the chance that they're right, and I was needing to get rid of all the contaminants out of this gold, I figured that this would be the way to go. So next time I refine it, I'll use SMB. I'm just doing it nice and slow so that the gold doesn't run out. There's really only a tiny bit in there. I don't even know if it's worth trying to collect. It's the smallest amount. Pretty poor. If I tried to melt that, if I tried to melt it, it would be like the tiniest little speck. So I don't really see the point. I've got another little beaker here with some, just the same amount, fine gold. Again, that wouldn't have been enough to melt, so I'm going to combine the two and just call that as, you know, like very, very minimal gold from pin CPUs. So I wish I had something more to show you, but that's pitiful. It's not really handy when there's nothing really to show you. Bit of a bummer deal, but there you go. If you're trying to get some gold from pin CPUs, don't expect much. Alright, so I'll leave that there. You know, not every video turns out with a nice bunch of gold. Sometimes this happens, and it's a good thing for you guys to see. You know, I could be like some channels and put a nice big pile of gold in there, but I'm not about that. I keep it real, and this is unfortunately what happens sometimes. You just get the tiniest little bit. So you know, you guys need to see this type of thing so that when it happens to you, you don't think, well, what did I do wrong? So I'll leave it there, and thanks for watching. See you later.